This story is a work of fiction.
Okay, I guess it's time to talk about this, folks. There's kind of a mistake that Atlus has made in Persona 5, and I want to talk about what that is in some detail. So, this is just sort of going to be a rambling speech where I'm going to talk about my playthrough of Persona 5 and why I'm doing this and why it matters. My upcoming stream will be featured as 1 day per real-time day of calendar time, which means it's going to take about a year to complete a playthrough of Persona 5. Now, I'll be spoiling pretty much everything in the game as I go, but I will clearly mark and separate videos out that have spoilers. So if you don't want to watch me watch a boss, then you can skip over that particular video. The reason why I am doing this particular protest video series is because of Atlus's decision to take a hard stance on story-based spoilers in their streams. I personally feel that story is a fantastic aspect of the Persona games, but it's not the only aspect. And I also feel very strongly that Atlus is not the only game producer in the world, and so they don't have the rights to dictate exactly how their game should be played. Now, the long and lengthy argument over content ownership, well, let's just go over the broad strokes, shall we? First off, when you purchase a piece of software like Persona 5, you claim ownership for privatized use, which means you can play the game as much as you want. For them to come in your living room and say, hey, stop playing that game right now, that's a breach of rights, user rights. On the other hand, for you to allow a large group of other people to play it, that is a breach of their rights as salesmen, especially if you try to resell that product to other people. So, here's a couple of examples. My brother wants to play my version of Persona 5. This again falls within personal use. Only one person is getting to play my game, even if it's not me. However, if I charge people $5 to play Persona 5 for an hour in a library at a college campus, now I'm profiting from their product, and that is pushing the limits of legality by a long stretch. That's pretty much stealing and reselling their product. And that's not pretty. So, where does YouTube fall in all this mess? Well, when you stream the video gaming content of a given producer, there is some level of interactability. In particular, it's not the same as streaming a movie. Let's say we're watching somebody play Minecraft. What they build and the world they see is going to be completely and totally and utterly different from the world you'd see as a player and the actions you'd take. You are almost certainly watching an entirely unique happenstance, a personal taking place of that given streamer, as opposed to watching the one experience of the game. When it comes to story-driven games like Persona 5, though, many cutscenes and story clips only occur once. Now, if you were to watch all of these cutscenes and story clips in tandem, then you would get a pretty clear idea of what will happen in the game. This not only spoils the storyline for players who haven't played the game yet, but it also opens up questions of whether you are stealing that content when you distribute it to other people, whether it's for free or for money. Now, YouTube features monetization. Well, it did. Smaller channels aren't getting that deal so much anymore due to some recent political shiftings, but you used to be able to get small amounts of money for when people watched ads on your channel. This could be interpreted as profiting from Atlus's product. Again, this is a small amount of money. And we get to the living room question. If only 2 or 3 people are watching your streams, who cares? It's just like having your brother play Persona 5 instead of you. The number of total consumers is extremely limited, so it's not the sort of thing that a producer should get their tail in a knot about. The question of whether you can record streams or not has never really been an issue ever since the VCR existed, Even non-interactive content can be recorded for personal use. There are specific legalities about copying discs because that's proprietary, but it is still legal to form recordings for your own personal posterity. And that's part of why I like to record and stream myself, because I like to be able to go back, look at my footage, and feel good about the things that I accomplished. This recording for posterity is the reason why I take issue with Atlus's Persona 5 and their stance on streaming. Not because of the content shared with other players, but the content recorded by a player for that player. The memories get lost. Thou art I, and I am thou. The people who stream these games are also the people who play these games, and the people who play these games are the people who watch these games. Now, the arguments about whether a potential buyer would be turned off by seeing spoilers, whether he'll avoid them himself because he's a big boy, I'm not going to get into that. When you play a game on the PS4, you periodically earn achievements. These are accomplishments, milestones, and all good games have them, and Persona 5 is not an exception. There are milestones in Persona 5. One-time passable achievements. Once you complete an achievement, you can't go back and uncomplete it. You get one grand memory. You did it, and now there's evidence. Well, that's where it gets sticky. Normally, on a PS4, when you complete an achievement, it takes a screenshot of what's going on at that moment for your scrapbook, in case you're that sort of player, and I am. Persona 5 blocked all of those screenshots as I was playing. You don't get to record your memories of playing. And this, the loss of memory, is perhaps the single strongest case against Persona 5's streaming ban. A person's playthrough of Persona 5 is personalized not only through simple actions, but through memories. One person's memory of a game is recorded in a stream, only one. And while other people can look in that and spoil the story for themselves, to be honest, story spoilers can be found on the internet absolutely everywhere. In fact, if you accidentally go to the Persona 5 wiki, you will learn more about this game than you ever wanted to. I had that problem with Persona 4 when I went to look up a certain character and discovered way more about them than I ever wanted to. I was just curious, well, if they were a social link. It turns out they were. Anyways, casting that particular sour moment aside, I can say that unwanted and unexpected spoilers are unfortunate. But there are worse sources than YouTube, where you can see the spoiler coming and have the opportunity to stop the stream yourself to avoid it. It's very easy to avoid spoilers on YouTube as opposed to other parts of the internet where it can be extremely difficult. So, I don't believe story spoilers are fair reason. And I also don't believe it is reasonable to assume that a person who sees these story spoilers won't want to play the game themselves. Because every person who sees a wonderful experience probably wants to create wonderful memories of that experience. And so, I will be creating a memorable stream of Persona 5. I haven't spoiled myself at all, although I have been playing up to the current date, the 23rd. And as a result, I have accomplished certain feats in the early game. Once I have my streaming equipment up, I will be going back over those days and basically repeating the same things I did. It might be a surprising experience for you. I am an Overlord, and I'm a genius at that. What that means, you're gonna find out. I've been playing this since April 9th, and as a result, I didn't have anyone else helping me or lending me aid or telling me what to do, and I came up with some interesting solutions and discoveries all on my own. I guess when my streaming equipment finally adds up, we'll find out exactly what was on my mind. But to this end, I have every intention to just keep playing past July 7th, and every day past that until the game is complete. Because anyone who is that deep into watching my story, who has watched dozens and dozens of videos of me playing this game, knows full well that there are spoilers on the way. And I doubt anyone's going to be interested in watching that much content of me putz through a video game anyway. If they do, well, awesome for them. I certainly don't think that anyone is going to lose anything from their own experience by watching me play. The average gamer will see a person play a game and think how they might have done things differently. Maybe they wouldn't take so much time wasting it grinding or pedantically listening to every single NPC in the world. Maybe they would take even longer. In any case, this is why I personally believe that Persona 5 and Atlus's approach to Persona 5 have taken streaming way incorrectly. And so I'll be taking a stand against it just as soon as my equipment gets here. Whew, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say in a nice long rambling nonsense stream. I'll see you around.